Hey everybody, this is Perch. All right, okay, I'm going to say on the offset because I think a number of people either do not have the sarcasm detector installed properly, it's shorting out, it's not working, needs a recharge, software update, I don't know. But there's some sarcasm in the video you're about to listen to. Okay, there's some dry humor and there's some sarcasm. There's also a little nugget of truth in there too. So just keep that in mind. Um, here's my thought. Okay, who are the comic villains that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years? Well, if you go to YouTube, you have a small handful of names that keeps coming up over and over. Very fairly small, common group. You've got, you certainly have your people like your Heather Antos, currently editing IDW Star Trek. You have your Mark Brooks, currently occasionally drawing variant covers. You have Tom King, currently writing a couple, Danger Street and The Human Target. You have Dan Slott, who's currently writing the not mainline Spider-Man book for Spider-Verse, the end of the Spider-Verse, promising a massive conclusion to the multiverse Spider-Verse saga. You've got Vita Ayala, who's writing nothing at the moment. You have Danny Lore, who's writing Blade, Daughter of Blade. And you have Gail Simone, who is writing nothing. I guess just finished the Alias book. A couple of these people may have some little projects somewhere in the indie zone that I'm forgetting about. But anyway, those are your big names. You got Stephanie Phillips. How can I forget Stephanie Phillips? Stephanie Phillips is about to write the Rogue Gambit series, is officially out at DC, no longer working there. But that's been our big. And Mags. How can we forget about Mags? You got Mags Saggio, who's writing nothing. So here's the little thing I want to kind of put in your mind. These have been the people who have dominated a lot of the commentary and kind of the internet chatter and all the rest. And one thing that's, what's of all those names I just mentioned, one thing that is absolutely common across all, what is the connected thread? There's no buzz about anything any of these people are doing. None. Half of them have no active projects at all. The other half do have active projects, but nobody cares. Tom King, no. Oh, I didn't mention Brian Michael Bendis. How can I forget the man who aged up John Kent? Here's another one. No mainstream projects, some indie projects somewhere on the side. Zero buzz. Zero. And this is the part to underline. By the way, I guess just as another disclaimer, nothing in this video is telling you who you can't like, or who's good, who's bad. It's not that. It's purely an observation that the people who have irked and annoyed the hell out of the internet for in recent memory, none of them have any buzz at all on their titles. You can even broaden that bubble a little bit and talk about Teenie Howard. Put a gun to your head. What is Teenie Howard doing? Seemingly out at Marvel. Doing what at DC? Catwoman? Is anybody talking about that book at all? For all the arguments people had with Gail Simone, did you even realize she had a 5-issue Jessica Jones variant called the Variants book? That again, nobody talked about. You know what that book was about? Jessica Jones met alternate versions of herself. One of them was evil. That's it. I'll bet 90% of you didn't even know that book was happening. Tom King, who was reading Danger Street? Anyone? I read that first issue. Again, you can put a gun to my head right now. I'd struggle to tell you what it was about. I remember Warlord was there driving a car, I think. I don't know. The Creeper was I don't remember what he was doing, but he was in there. I read this comic. Don't remember. Human Target? Last time anyone was talking about this was when Guy Gardner was shot, and he's seemingly coming back to life, I guess, or I don't know. Can we get to the point where it's revealed that Ice is the villain? Is that where? Or I don't know. Does anybody care? There's no buzz. Take Dan Slott. Dan Slott. He is doing Spider-Man. He's on the book that arguably was his biggest hit. Not arguably, definitely was his biggest hit at Marvel. The one that made the most sales. And he was a writer with a very long run. Remember, he was responsible for, kind of the run out after one more day. He was part of that group, and then he did the whole Superior Spider-Man, and then he did Spider-Man was a tech billionaire, and then Spider-Man is a loser dating Mockingbird. Dan Slott is back writing a Spider-Man book with Mark Bagley, another artist who is completely identified with Spider-Man. You could argue that is the dream team. Well, I don't know about dream, but anyway, that's a team that is very associated with Spider-Man. Dan Slott, Mark Bagley. Who's talking about that book? Again, nobody. Nobody. That book is dead. For what it's worth, there's a spider invasion, and there's a swarm. There's a wasp-like character that when they bite or sting or poke one of the heroes, then they turn into a evil villain, and then they're chasing around Spider-Man, and that's what's going on. Nobody is talking about that book at all. These books from these people that we hold up as kind of the supervillains of comic writers. There is no buzz, no heat on these books. I mean, look what people are talking about right now. It's I mean, you've got panels where characters are talking about a juicy dumper over in Exterminators. Nobody cares about that story. It's just a meme of a single panel talking about Pee-Pee Boy and juicy dumpers. That's it. There is absolutely no buzz. This is a problem in comics in general. I mean, Jason Aaron is finishing up his epic Avengers run, and nobody is talking about it. This book has the multiversal Masters of Evil, a super Doctor Doom with a Doom planet and millions of Doom variants, going up against the assembled multiverse of Avengers. Again, zero buzz. Zero. Hey, did you know that there's an X-Men book by Jerry Duggan? There is. They're making it. You know what it's about? I'll wait. Anybody? I think if you're pissed at mainstream comics, if you've been irritated that Marvel has insulted you and whatever, if you're against some of these books, take a moment to not be angry. Do your victory lap because you won. The people lots of channels have been talking about for years are producing things that nobody cares. Gail Simone, cool. Nobody cared at all about that book. Tom King, nobody cares. Bendis, is he doing anything? Nobody cares. Vita, completely not doing anything in comics right now. So the reasons. Vita is no comics. Danny Lore is doing Daughter of Blade. Now, granted, it's not out yet, and maybe there will be a lot of buzz about this book, but I'm willing to bet there will not be. Stephanie Phillips, again, are you excited to read Rogue Gambit? It is 2023, so we have to look for some new villains. It feels like Megan Fitzmartin has jumped out for an early run at it. Charlie Jane Andrews, perhaps, but Megan Fitzmartin is kind of who I've got my money on of being the big supervillain in 2023. That feels, because the rest of these people, again, Dan Slott had to go to Twitter to start a fight about She-Hulk's twerking ass and if it's comics accurate 2+ months after the show aired. That's where we're at in terms of the buzz for his comic. Zero people are talking about, hey, he's got this new Spider-Man character who's part of the multiverse, and this character, he's not even getting people hating on his characters. He's got a gay Spider-Man, Web Weaver. There's the Sun Spider who's handicapped. That was done by T. Franklin. But in terms of these characters, in theory, are in his book. Nobody is talking about it. Nothing. And by the way, I say nobody's talking about it, I mean good or bad. There's no, there's not, I'm not seeing articles and reviews for people going, damn, this is the best comic ever. If you go back in time, when G. Willow Wilson was doing Miss Marvel and Eric, who was on Squirrel Girl? I forget. Was Ryan North on Squirrel Girl? I don't know. Anyway, you'd still at least see, like Joe Glass over on Bleeding Cool be like, Miss Marvel is the best comic that's ever been written in the history of comics. Today, you don't see that. Who's reviewing Danger Street? Who reviewed The Variants by Gail Simone? I'm sure somebody did somewhere, but really nobody. Again, there is zero buzz about these comics. So just kind of something to think about. Again, if all this stuff has irritated you, and that's fine, good news. Nobody cares. All right, so who's your guess for the new supervillain of 2023? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for listening.